There are certain challenges that occur when you're growing in greenhouses, whether it is indoors or outdoor greenhouse. There are certain challenges that may occur. And so I'm going to be sharing some of the challenges that I face with my indoor greenhouse garden and some of the mistakes that I've made. So if you saw my last video on this garden, you will see that I have thinned out the garden because I have the plants in here that are going to be staying in here, and I also had the plants that I'm going to be putting outside in here. So if you recall, everything was doing quite well, but now some things have been harvested for the table. But then in the last week I had to get rid of quite a lot of my plants. Hi, I'm White Davy. Welcome to White Davy Garden and Worm Farm. So you might be wondering why it is that I had to get rid of some of my plants. I got rid of quite a lot because all the lettuce that were here, they are gone. And this one that I didn't start from seed, I was growing it for the seeds and I had 3 of them. That's gone. Some of my regrow cabbage, after taking out the lettuces that were here, I put some of my regrow cabbage in there and it was instant death. Like within 2 days, they just started showing the same signs as the others. And so everything in this stretch except for my fever grass or lemongrass down there is gone. Take a close look at what's happening here with my regrow bok choy. This regrow cabbage, this particular variety, is very tough, both in terms of how it feels and in terms of being resilient, because all of them that comes from this is doing well. There is that one, and over here we have that one there. Over here we have this one, and over here we have the largest one right there. So these ones are quite resilient, so they are not doing too badly. But everything else, if you look at my green onions, you'll see that, can you see the yellow spotting on the leaves? And the leaves are just falling down. Even my tomatoes, do you see the curling of the leaves? They don't look quite healthy. And to be honest, if I had a lot of growing time, I would have gotten rid of a lot of these things and start over. I guess I could do that in here because it is indoors. I've gotten rid of quite a lot already. So what's the issue? My garden was doing quite well until I went to one of the supermarkets and I saw this oregano and I also saw basil. They looked fine, so I purchased them, and I brought them in here. Within a week of having them, they started to look strange. In fact, the basil, I transplanted it to see what was going on. Maybe it was root bound and it needed to be in a bigger pot. But within a week of buying it, it died. And then I realized afterwards that gradually all of the plants close to where the basil and the oregano was started to look strange. Upon closer inspection, I noticed that I had a few aphids. Unfortunately, I did not have any diatomaceous earth. I had sold off all of my worm castings, and I had to wait on my order of diatomaceous earth to get here. And during that time, the aphids took over and pretty much decimated a lot of what I have here, so I had to get rid of them, a lot of the plants, just to get the aphids under control. So I'm hoping that the plants will grow back. So at the moment I have a gallon of worm tea that I am brewing. I am not using the aerated method this time around, but in all my years of seeing aphids, I have never seen so many aphids. Like literally, when you look on the stem, the whole stem of the plant and the leaves of the plant, the only thing that you could see was aphids. You couldn't see the plants, they were just covered in aphids. Thankfully, that tend to stay on this side of the garden because that is where I put the plants that I purchased from the store. So first lesson, when you purchase plants from greenhouses or supermarkets or wherever, if you have an existing garden, do not put those plants that you purchase with your existing garden. Allow a reasonable amount of time to pass. Examine your plants before you buy them to see if they have pests on them. Sometimes they might have the eggs of the pest, so you may not see, because I did examine but I didn't see the aphids. So examine them, and the next thing is to allow time to pass. Keep them one side, not in your garden, because you don't want, if they have pests or if they have disease, for those to spread. Now the reason why they were able to spread so fast in my garden, and this is the next tip that I have for you. When you're growing indoors, there is not a lot of air circulation. It's not open space. Everything is enclosed, which means that it is easy for pests to get from one plant to the other and just keep multiplying. There's nowhere else, right? Out in the open, they can find other plants that are not vegetative. But when you're growing indoors like this, they are confined, and the condition is more ideal for things like aphids to grow and to multiply fast. Now I mentioned my worm tea, and the reason I'm making worm tea is for two reasons. One, it helps to fight pests, including aphids. And two, because these plants were so badly affected by the aphids, I'm using the worm tea because it is rich in microbes, and those microbes are going to strengthen the root of the plant and the entire plant overall, which is going to make it easier for the plants to fight back and get healthy again. So that is the reason why I'm making the worm tea. So guys, when you have issues like this, make sure you space out your plants. If you see sign of trouble, remove the trouble as quickly as possible. Do not hesitate, because when you hesitate, the result can be costly. Over here I have my ginger. I'm not sure what is going on with it, but ever since I planted it, this is how they grow. Just like that. I'm not sure what the story is, so I'm going to be uppotting these soon. I just need to make a bed for them outside. Over here I have my squash, and they too are not doing well. I think I sold too much of my worm casting, so I don't have enough to look after my plants just yet. I have to wait for another week or two before I can use the next batch of castings, which means that these guys are running out of nutrients, and along with the aphids that is affecting them, then it makes it difficult for these plants. So you will notice that around the edges there is yellowing and browning. This is a sign of magnesium deficiency. which means that, or potassium deficiency. So what you need to do if you have that is to get banana peel, soak it in water, use it to make a compost tea, and use that to nourish the plants so that they can bounce back. The thing is, once the damage has occurred to the leaves, the damage will not go away, but the new leaves will be healthy. I still have plants to remove because anything that is in here in containers need to be transplanted outside, but in the interest of time, because I'm still in the process of building my raised beds, these are still in here. Thankfully, I got most of my tomatoes. I got all of the tomatoes that are going outside out, and it's just the peppers and the amaranth that is left to go out, and a few of my brassicas. Still have seedling growing. These are my spinach, and I have my cucumbers that needs to go outside. One died. I transplanted it over in that side where the aphids are, and it didn't make it. The other two seem to be doing okay, so I'm grateful for that. And I have exciting news. If you look closely in here, you will see that my long sweet peppers are preparing to flower. So yes, I just wanted to share those tips with you when you are growing indoors. So if you enjoy my video and you'd like to see more educational videos like these, please take a moment to give me a thumbs up. You can leave a comment in the section below. If you're new to my channel, please subscribe and turn on your notification for more updates like these. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have yourself a wonderful day. Yeah man, a time for grow.